Hello, everyone. Let's maybe wait a couple of minutes until everyone gathers. I'm very happy to do this broadcast. I think a lot of your questions will be answered here. Okay. So my husband is the first one. Okay. Let's start. Basically, we're going to discuss something that I usually discuss during private sessions. And I address such deep topics usually only during the time when we are luxuriously kind of could focus on your tendencies, your situations, your worries, your concerns in a marriageable or a romantic relationship that you are currently in. But I decided to just give some insights here because I feel it will prepare you if you decide to come to webinars or come to private sessions. It will prepare you and will explain to you the ways I kind of heal that questions. Hi, my dear. And the ways I try to explain to a person where everyone is coming from in the current problem or situation or concern. So number one, just to preface, maybe a couple of first minutes is not going to be directly on the relationship between man and woman, but just to give an idea where I come from and how I operate by looking at the situations that people are currently living through. And I'm going to address answers right away instead of asking questions and answering them like I do in my voice notes. But here it's just going to be all kind of one talk, and you will pick up your answers as I speak. So number one, whatever we entertain, whatever we go into, whether it's romantic relationship, marriage, of parenthood, or any other creative expressions that we are, so to speak, driven into, it's only in order to deepen and to discover ourselves deeper. So one of the main problems that people experience in marriage is that they're facing selfishness and they can't stand it, right? So selfishness is like one of the main problems. He's too selfish, she's too selfish. He thinks about himself, she thinks only about her benefits and herself. But honestly, from a deeper and higher consciousness, we are actually here to discover ourselves. So the way it works, before we come into this world, before we descend, we, so to speak, experience completeness. We feel that like wholesomeness in us. We are like one. Before the gender, before the body, before the human experience, we have the memory while we are here in a human expression. We have the memory of that completion. I always give this example. It's like you have a body and you know you have a body. And one morning you wake up and the whole reality tells you you only have one ear. There's nothing but one ear. And you're like, wait a minute, I know I have other parts. I know I have other functions. I know I have other organs and other things. And I remember, right? So when we descend here, maybe it's a discussion for the next talk, we are chopped into pieces and we are redefined. There's a man, there's a woman, there is a certain religion, there's a certain function, there is an age, there is time, there is space, there's a lot of divisions that we, so to speak, go through. But we do remember that there is a part of me that I felt complete through. And that's what we're searching for. We're searching to complete ourselves. So we go into all different contexts in this world. That's what it's called here. when I connect with a friend, when I connect with a spouse, when I connect with a child, when I connect with a coworker or a boss, I'm actually there to collect myself. So right now I am handicapped, let's say, right? I was only defined, I have one ear, one toenail and one, eyebrow, and I'm dying to recollect myself back to one piece. And I'm going and searching in this interesting world for different parts of me. And I could only do it, that's how it's set up. I could only do it by interacting, by deepening myself, investing myself, and like, so to speak, bonding with someone else. And when I go there into this deeper relationship, I know what I'm missing, and I know they have it. I'm going to bring examples. It's going to be easier to understand. I know for most of you, you did not hear it from me, even those that came to me occasionally for the private sessions, etc. So I go into the relationship, and falling in love, definition of falling in love, I'm going to also define here. Basically, I fall in love with a quality that I know I had, and right now I cannot locate inside me. For instance, you could dream to become a musician, and you got sidetracked and you always wanted to, and all of a sudden you see a guy or a girl, opposite a sex, so to speak, right, that has that quality, and you fall in love with that. Yes, we call it differently. A lot of people like to say, oh, he's attractive, she's attractive. I like the way she walks, speaks. I like her character traits, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, that has nothing to do with that. We fall in love with the quality that we could not locate inside us. If I'm too shy, I would definitely be attracted to someone who is outgoing. If I have specific part in me that is not able to express easily, like make contacts easily, then I would be attracted to someone who knows how to do it. And until you integrate that, you will be, so to speak, in this trance, fell in love. You will be falling in love with that person, right? So you are kind of in love until you integrate, you spend enough time with that person, you get an idea how that musician came to that expression, how they became famous, how they became like easily loved by a lot of audience, blah, 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 and all that. And once you get the skill and once you acquire the processes, the step-by-step processes that the person did, then something what's called we lost our love. Yeah. So once you integrate a certain part of you and you find it, you definitely were looking for it, then you integrate and make it yours. Then on that level, you, so to speak, don't need that person anymore. And that's when that's when you have that crisis in marriage or relationship, when people are like losing connection, losing this like oomph, so to speak, in the relationship, and they're like, nah, that does not do it anymore. We're like lost it. We don't like each other anymore. Blah blah blah. So I just want you to know we're both there for certain integration, for certain completion. We are there in order to find ourselves. And I think once we know that there are a lot of parts, one person, one partner could reflect many parts for you. And sometimes those parts could be really intense. Sometimes they could be with a minus sign, not like, oh, musician, an artist, and a poet, and a person that knows how to make money, and I couldn't put it together, and I don't know how to make money, and all that. That's with a plus. But what if it's with a minus? For instance, a person annoys you if they are too sloppy, like they don't know how to handle their surroundings. They're always messy. They always misplace things. And believe it or not, you came there for your parts that are called in this world minus and plus, but really they're your parts. So you were like a complete being before a soul descended into this world. Once it came into the world of duality, it separated itself for the game's sake into a plus and a minus. You have advantages and disadvantages, but really they're all your parts. It's for different reasons, as I said, for different occasions. We're going to discuss that if you're interested. All our parts are important and valuable and instrumental for our current reincarnation and for our current processes. But there's certain things we definitely deny. For instance, just recently I had someone who reached out. Their main disagreement was that a person would just like lose themselves and would call her names like her partner and would just put her down, and like basic decency would not be there. Plus that person is obsessed with money, like always counting, always, and they both make good amount of money. So she's really disgusted by that, you know, like she's like, no, that's not for me. And when we spoke about her current situation, I said to her, could you locate inside you a part that obsessing about money, wants free money, so to speak, wants easy money, wants money just come to you? Because in that situation, some money came towards her and he wanted it. He wanted a part in it. So I said to her, find that place inside you. I know you don't use it. You don't like to call yourself like that, stingy, or not stingy, but hungry for money, right? But find that place. Just close your eyes and say, I know I have. He's reflecting for me something that I deny having. He's like a mirror, right? He's holding something that she is searching for subconsciously, and she wants it for some reason. Reclaim that part. She needs to reclaim that part. She needs to integrate that part and use it for her own use, right? I know it sounds raw maybe and maybe uncomfortable, but those minuses to collect, it's extremely hard. So what we're doing in the private sessions, I basically say, here's your husband. Here he is holding your part that annoys you. So all you need to do is to just separate and just say bye-bye to your husband, right? And just deal with that part. And look at it and say to that part, let's say the one that is hungry for money, constantly wanting more money, easy money, free money, etc. And you say, I know I lost that part and it's very dear to me. And you reclaim it as yours. It's like some lost member of the family coming back home. And you thank your husband for holding that space for you. And you reclaim that part back. And I know it's not the usual process how people solve problems, right? But once that's done, once or let's say ugliness, I don't accept myself being ever ugly with people. I don't accept that part. Losing on other people. I'm more decent. I'm more communicative. I'm more balanced. Like I define myself as such. But there is a part of you that your husband or your partner is reflecting, that part that wants to come home. So you kind of sit with it, reflect on it, and you say, yes, I have a part in me in the world of duality that is called just being loose, being ugly, being rude, being uncomfortable in communication, being aggressor in a way, right? I just want to sit and integrate that part. And a relationship becomes much different when when you look at it this way, it's a very personal kind of process. A lot of people go to marriage counseling and just solve it as a marriage. Marriage is an institution. It's a lot of tools over there, and a lot of input is put there. But really, in my opinion, if we able to process on a personal level and see what's there for me right now without distraction, without trying to make believe stuff, without running away, without taking sides, oh, poor me, and look how horrible I am stuck in this relationship, and blah, 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 without running away, just like staying put. What is in front of me? He's holding something that I need to learn to accept. Which part triggers me the most in him or in her that I cannot stand? That's exactly what I need to integrate. That's exactly what I need to learn to reclaim back. And that's one tool that we mostly deal with, and a lot of energy comes to it, because that part that you lost or deny having or send away, it's like sending back to the basement, so to speak, and you stay on a top floor, and that part is like banging and screaming to come out. And you're like, what's that noise? Where's that noise coming from? And that is the tension in a relationship. Really, anyone could reflect you those parts. It doesn't only happen in a marriage. In your children, and your grown-up children, and your neighbors, and your coworkers, anywhere in the world. For instance, you are not happy with the war. You feel unfairness. You feel something wrong going on among nations or among people, right? So there is a trigger there. You're not accepting something. You basically need to sit and say, that's the world I came in, and that's how it is in this world. People fight, people disagree, people are unfair, and I have to make peace with that. First, make peace with the fact that this world is run like that. Whether I'm going to accept it or not, the wars in the world is not going to stop, but it's going to hurt me. So my part here is to learn to accept the world. The world is like that. There is a part in me that argues with the world and fights with it and wants to change it. And there is a part in me that is able to make peace, not make believe, but make true peace, and so to speak, a humble peace with whoever created this world. There is a point here. There is a wisdom there, even in people losing their lives. There is a wisdom there. And I submit, I surrender, I give in, right? So call out to that part if this is not in a relationship with a partner. But there's another point that I wanted to discuss. I hope it's clear. Just like write to me or lift up your hand if you want to say something. I wanna speak to you, not just by myself. So I hope it's understood, this like little insight. And basically, a person, I definitely recommend people journaling. What's been triggering me? What am I running away? What am I in denial with? What am I hurting against, right? What am I not accepting? What am I truly against? Why am I against it? So like journaling, letting it all out, free writing is also amazing. Just make a topic in the middle of the page and then just like shoot out whatever is in your mind. Let's say it's, I don't know, sickness or war or man, woman, and just like write out, empty, so to speak, yourself from the old patterns and old belief systems and old values and understanding, and let the new come in, right? So I guess you don't have questions or comments. Oh, yes, you do. I want to hear. Allowed to speak? Yes. You are speaking. I guess you have to turn your mic on.
Okay, I see how to do this now. My first time.
Hi, my
I've
dear.
been journaling. Hi, Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
I have been journaling, and I journal about every single man that I interact with that's single and that, for dating and purposeful. And it does help, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still stuck in a cycle of,
Mm-hmm.
so I am
Amazing.
journaling, but I've been
Uh,
doing it for
uh-huh.
like 3 years.
Okay, journaling is one tool. I think journaling helps to sort and also helps to let out what's holding you back. But it's not going to necessarily help to understand why the certain partnership is blocking you, right? So this is another topic that I wanted to go into, and maybe after this insight, you will come back again and you'll tell me if I answered or not, okay?
Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Okay, so I'll mute you now. Basically, what I wanted to discuss is that I noticed that whenever I say, why do you need to get married? I get very interesting answers. Or why do you need a relationship? Why do you need to go into marriage or into partnership, right? And I often hear it's easier together. I often hear, oh, everyone makes a family and I want to make a family. It's boring by yourself. It's much interesting together. I often hear, I have what to give, right? This is an interesting twist. I have what to give. I'm going to speak about it. I'm very kind. I'm very giving. I hear that from ladies mostly. I'm very giving person. I want to share and I want to give, right? Because why am I bringing this up? Because this is a certain denial that people are in. Really, honestly, and truly, we are here to take. And I'm not talking about selfish taking. When we are convincing ourselves, I'm here to give, then you are really going far away from reality and you're really out of touch from where you truly stand, right? And that becomes like a runaway, and I was always there to give and I was always giving, and he just took advantage of me and he like took everything from me and blah blah blah, right? So really it's important to get back and to say it's like we kind of running away from the fact. Let's say a person says, okay, I'm going to train myself never to eat, right? I'm really going to train myself like basically never to eat, and I'm just going to prove to the world that I'm not going to ever need food or drink or anything. And it's such a deep denial that a person could just like be anxious. Oh, now the world is going to find out that I don't need to eat or drink. And then a person basically dies. So that's what happens. We burn out when we are in a search, in a relationship, out of wanting to give. It's definitely out of touch, and then they burn out. And because of that value system, they drop the ball, so to speak, and they don't go into trying it again and again. They're like really discouraged because the initial move was wrong. So I hear it's much more safer when you're together. It's an old pattern, right? Because very not long. I mean, considering that we are like over 5,000 years existing as humans, just maybe over 100 years or maybe just over 150 years where it's considerably safe for especially a woman to be alone. Like even in my childhood, I remember in the culture I was brought up, a woman was handled from a dad to a husband. If a husband somehow dies or they got divorced, then she's handled either by a dad again or by a brother. Yeah, brother would always have, besides for his family, he would have those sisters that are widows, and they would handle their let's say security, stability, If they are not able to work, they would support them, blah, 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 right? So for a woman, it's a deep conscious thing. I need to get married to have, to be safe, for safety. And maybe on a physical level for a woman, but for a man on emotional level, right? It's very hard for a man to be alone. Maybe for a woman on emotional level, she's fine. She's like, she knows how to create maybe a comfortable surrounding for herself. She handles life inside the house, inside the, like eating, sleeping, blah, 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 and all that much easier. Some men are very incapable of doing that. I heard from many men say, we don't need a house if there is not a woman. You know, we could live outside, we could go camping, and there's no need for a house. And therefore, like, basically, house is a place where you regroup, you relax, you calm down, you decide what's next. And if a guy doesn't have that, it's very hard. He's like going. There's no setting back in order to regroup and decide where to go next. So he doesn't have that without a woman. And he's looking for that nurturing kind of setting, right? Where there's comfortable surroundings, where you could truly relax, you could truly let go. So for a woman, for that safety, I want safety. I want the guy to handle my life. You know, like he could take care of my basic needs and desires, and like we could share responsibility. That's another one. Yeah. So basically, if we could define, mostly people are looking for relationship, for safety, for someone to rescue or to save them, or to create that secure environment for different areas, mental, emotional, or physical. And for some lacks, I don't have right now, let's say, a comfortable house, and with my husband, I could afford buying myself a comfortable house. I cannot travel by myself. It's not safe. Let's say this is what she's going through, and I love traveling, and I'll be more comfortable traveling with him. I want to have, so to speak, an in, right, in the society where people exchange experiences as a family. That's another also social expression, when people want to be accepted. It's also a lack. I don't have it now. But when I'll be a family person, I will have much more in, when I'm treated like a family person. I'm more honorable. I'm more understood. I'm more interacted with. When I'm single, I'm not as welcomed, so to speak. Maybe not in our days, because there are more singles than married, I think. But it's definitely in our memory. I remember when I first got divorced, I felt very uncomfortable with the status of being divorced. I felt like I need to hide away. And that was an old pattern that I was carrying. Something wrong with me. I got married when I was 19 or 20. And being married for 17 or 18 years, and being, so to speak, in that status, all of a sudden when it changes, you don't even know how to deal with that new status, right? So it's a lack. And if I need to get married to cover up that lack that I'm experiencing right now, I don't want to be mistreated. I don't want to be handled, right? If I'm divorced, or if I'm single. If I'm single for a long time and I never been married, that's another status, taboo status. Like, why is this guy or girl not married, and they're like in their 40s or 50s? What's wrong with them? That's another layer of like, there's something wrong with me, and therefore I need to get married to lift that something wrong with me. So I'm looking for something that I'm lacking and I don't have. And that guy that I'm looking to have is going to lift that for me. So when I'm looking for someone, just listen carefully, yeah? If I'm looking for someone to do something for me that I cannot do for myself, he's going to change the status of me being married from not married. So I'm looking for him to do this for me. So he comes in with the energy, because you invite that. It's all energetic. You invite a guy who could rescue you from being not accepted socially and now more accepted socially. That rescue part in him is going to very quickly turn into aggressor. And I'll explain how it works, right? So I don't have money, he has money. I'm looking for a rich guy. I'm dying to change my status so I'll be more accepted. I want to be married instead of single. I don't have I want to also like show on the Facebook that I'm happily married like everyone else does, right? All that you're basically saying indirectly to a potential partners, come rescue me. I'm a victim. There's something going on in me that I fell into being a victim of something that I cannot solve without you. So come. And he comes in on that request. And he basically says to you, since I'm here to rescue and solve your problems, I am going to act on it, and I'm going to be your passive and I'm going to be active. And he is going to, it could be in his case, also he's a victim. He doesn't have something and he's looking, and then she comes in to rescue, to save him, so to speak, right? From whatever. And then he experiencing from her, because she's an activated, active person, right? She plays that role as taking care of him and handling his problems and solving his victim mode. So very quickly, that active person becomes an aggressor. Because basically the message, I don't know how to do it, you know, and I give you the role to handle my life. And he or she handles your life, and very soon it looks like they handle it a little bit too much for you. And then you come to a therapist and you say, they do things without my permission, they spend my money, they decide where we should be based, they decide what my level of religion should be. And really, it has nothing to do with that person. It has to do with how you handled your lack. And we're going to speak a little bit about that lack. So basically, there is a part in you that is very scared. And there is a valid reason why this part is very scared. This world is scary, right? This world is hard to love, is occasionally. It's very, and all those people that say, like, I express unconditional love and I'm like accepting and loving everything, just know that there is a part in you that you are, so to speak, in denial of, that is very fearful of this world, very furious, wants to run away, does not want to be here. It's very rough and very uncomfortable for some gentle souls, so to speak, right? And I want you to go to that part. Don't run away and go into unconditional love, right? Go and search deep inside for that part that is very scared of this world. And that's another point. Some people say, actually, for me, it's less scary without a man than with the man, right? So we are here discussing that you're looking for a man as a woman, you're looking for a man to relax you and to handle you and to support you, etc. But there are some patterns that say, no, I have some experiences with a man that is actually more scary, or I have it in my DNA, my family, my tribal kind of code. there is more scary with the man, maybe it's better off without the man. And that could also be a block for marriage, for partnership. So for the question that you were asking, if you are looking for a partner and it's not coming, I want you to know there are a lot of layers in you that are speaking, voicing different idea. Some voices in you say, we don't need a man. And another voice in you looks for a matchmaker and pays the money and goes on each matchmaking sites and all the dating sites and just actively looks for a good partner. But because the fact is, if you're not married yet, I want you to know that there is a part in you that actively voicing no marriage, not at this time. It's going to create big problem for us. We don't want marriage. And if you're not going to turn around and heal that part and take that part by hand and explain, yes, it was scary for your great-grandmother and she had a rough time with a guy and it was super dangerous for a woman in your family to repeat that. It was really bad and I hear where you're coming from, and you do therapy for this little part. Because when people come to me and they say, no, I want to get married, what are you talking about? I do this and I do that. The fact that you're not married, you are not handling the scared and terrified part well. You really need to take it in and warm it up to marriage too. And if you come to therapy, you only look at that part. You don't feed me with ideas what you do and how much you do for marriage. We're all looking towards that part that is scared and got some experiences, so to speak, in you that needs healing, needs explanation, needs warming up to marriage, understanding marriage is different now than it was 200 years ago. Right now, a woman could support herself and she could handle herself and she could understand when it's not a go and she could get up and go. And there are governments that could support her. Like you really explain like to a little child, you do that deep work and you understand that really the reason why you're not getting something is because there is a conflict inside you. Not that there is a conflict outside you and for some reason you're not getting a right partner, because there is a deeper conflict inside. And that conflict is our responsibility to handle. So when a woman says that I'd rather stay without a man than get married, I feel much more safe without a man than with the man. So I say to her, it's basically like that. We have fear in us about this world. This world is freaking, really scary for some gentle spiritual parts of us. And that fear we sometimes project on the world. We basically say the world is scary, so the man will protect me, right? And sometimes we project it on a man. We say, no, I'll deal with the world, right? But the man's world within this world is super scary. So the fear could be projected on different things. Some people are scared to give birth within marriage. They, so to speak, are fine being married, but they cannot commit to give birth because there is some part in you that has something about losing your life or giving all of you up for motherhood, and that part needs to be healed, right? So it's much deeper than what people just like, I do on this level, on a shallow level, everything for marriage. I present myself, I perfect my profile, I do blah blah blah, I look like I'm a good candidate, but it's not working. So instead of like digging on one hole, look around and see where there is a fear or trauma or some drama hidden that could be healed. And so far it's clear. Any questions so far? I definitely do want to go a little further, but I just want to understand you're with me. If anyone has any questions or concerns or something you did not understand, please ask. Okay, I guess it's yes. I allowed you to speak.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hi.
So, I don't know if this is related enough to what you were saying, but I keep hearing people say stuff like men need to be needed or something like that. So I'm just curious how that connects to what you're saying, because you're saying that you shouldn't want someone to like rescue you or be giving you something you don't already have or something. So, yeah.
Right. So again, the point that you were making, you hear people say again, I didn't hear the statement.
That men need to be needed.
Oh, men need to be needed. Right. I don't like that. I think it's coming from an old value system. We basically unraveling that and freeing ourselves from all that neediness, right? And we don't want to go into the pattern where I want to be needed, he should be needed. Basically, the way it works like that, if there is a part in me that wants to be rescued, right? There is a part. We already made peace with that. It's known as developed as you are. There will be a part of you that is freaked out by this world. So instead of looking for it to be rescued in a marriage or in a partnership, you sit with it and you basically say to yourself, I have a mature parts in me. I have developed parts in me that could handle that scared little child. And you just basically go there and you say, I'm here to rescue you. You from your adult level, go to that very freaked out part and you say, I was looking for you. I'm here for you. I'm going to rescue you. I know how to handle this world. I've been around. I know it's scary. I understand you. Now you're mine. Because I'll tell you, when we give ourselves over that little child that is constantly scared, I'm talking about not inner child like people say, it's a little bit different idea. That part that has very little tools to handle this world. It's more spiritual, it's more outside of duality, it has no idea how to handle contrast, etc. So you go to that part, weaker part, so to speak, within you as an expression in this world, and you collect it and you say, I will never, never give you to someone else. Not because someone else is always bad, because as much as I could handle you, nobody could handle you. It's, so to speak, irresponsible. And if you had a relationship where you gave that little freaked out part to a man, for instance, and over there was a big disaster, and then you run away and it was a big divorce and blah, 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 it's still important to do the healing and say, it was my mistake to give you over to someone who has no idea what you need. And he got lost in the process. He was given something that he honestly is not equipped to handle. So I understand and free him, and I reclaim back that was not to blame myself, but now I understand that it's purely my responsibility to rescue myself. And when you do that work, then the marriage is not about he's going to need me, I'm going to need him back, and that's how we're going to create a perfect marriage. The marriage becomes from me being responsible for my life. And like people like to say it about the material expression, right? But on emotional level, it's so important to be able to understand. If a guy tells you, for instance, I'm here for you, I'm not going anywhere, trust me, I chose you and I love you and I'm here to stay, I want you to understand that your woman part could be entrusted. You could give your woman part to him. But you say to that woman, the part on you that is a woman, right? You say to her, right now he's in love. And right now he's committed. And right now he's saying those things. And for the time being, he's going to handle you just for fun, for the experience. But if something changes, I know where you should come. I know, and I have a place for you to come back home to. So you reassure your woman part that things could change even without his control. It's not like men should not be trusted, women should not be trusted. That's the part of the world that we all play in. We one day are convinced we are here to stay, then we fall in love and something clicks in us and we decide we need to change the relationship. That's how this world plays us. So we allow the setup and the style of this world to play through us. And we say to our child and to our woman and to our man kind of part, and we say, oh, this woman just now said she's here to stay and she's committed and she's loving and she's not looking for another partner. I could step in, I could check in, but it's not completely giving myself for a lifetime and then 29 years later coming and blaming him for not being honest, etc., etc. He said it at this time, and for this time it's good enough, but always have a place where you go back. You're responsible for yourself. On emotional and mental level, it will be much easier for partners to know, I said this to her, but she is comfortable with herself. If something happens, if one of us dies in an accident, it's not a betrayal. That's how this world works. If it happened, she could handle her woman. If her woman will be without a man for a little bit, she knows how to handle her woman. So woman, man could exchange and give into each other's world, but never a child. Never that part that I was talking initially about that is completely fearful and completely uncomfortable with this world. That is purely your responsibility, never your partner's. Does that answer or no?
Yeah, I think it answers it. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want you to maybe slow down and take in and just reflect and say, what is all this information does inside on a feeling level? Because we don't want it all to be upstairs, right? We want it to go inside and see how it sits in, how is my body reacting to it, how am I breathing differently if I am, what thoughts patterns I have while I'm listening to Miriam, like what is going on. And I want to hear the feedback, like this information was sitting not okay, I have resistance, I have discomfort, I have reactivity, I have rejection, I feel like I want to run away. Like any of that is important to reflect before we go anywhere, like on an informative level. So I want to hear you, those of you that are here, if you could take a moment and just like give you, if you don't want to speak in public, it's fine. Just write it out for yourself and make a note and connect with what's going on. Anyone wants to say anything? Yes, my dear. Yes. I think you just need to turn your mic on. I'm listening. Bracha? I can't. Oh, hi. Did you want to say something? I don't hear you at all. Anyone else wants to say something? So just to regroup, I'm gonna like a little melody, meditative melody. I'm gonna speak, and I'm gonna say whenever a trigger comes up. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. So I'll just mute you. Whenever a trigger comes up in a relationship, always remind yourself that you're both here for your own completion. It's okay to be selfish. He's here to complete his part that he's lost in a female world, right? Because he's very much defined as a man, and he needs to complete through her and integrate a woman into him. She is looking for that lost masculine part, and she's looking for that. And then there is a lot of other parts that I'm denying I would ever have. It's not my nature. It's not my style. I would never have that. I could never be like that. He's too stingy. He's too ugly. He's too rude. I would never be that. Just reclaim that back. Just say to yourself, yes, I am stingy. I have that part in me. I want to hold it by hand and make it mine. And I'm very grateful for having that part. And I'm bringing it back home. And yes, I could be extremely ugly and rough. And I'm accepting that in me. And I'm honoring that part in me. And whether I'm going to use it, apply it is another thing. It's just making connection, making contact. It's important to recollect yourself, right? So once that work is done, I want you to try and see how your marriage or your partnership is going to change the dynamic. And as I said, some partners would reflect one part after another, one part after another. They're like tasking kind of partners, and they would constantly throw it at you. But if you sit with it and you truly accept it and you free your partner from it, that's where preaching to your partners and trying to change them, and like this idea, oh, I'm dating someone, but he doesn't have blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure with time it's going to be, oh, I'll be able to change it, right? We are not here to change each other. It's not the goal. It was never a plan like that. The game is we find ourselves in the partner, we integrate it, we become broader, we become more equipped to deal with the world, and then we find another part in the partner, and then another part, and that's how we become more mature, and that's how we become parents through each other and against each other, so to speak, and we integrate our motherhood and fatherhood with each other's help. So we honestly are here to only look at each other with the eyes that which other part is he reflecting? Which other part is she reflecting? I'm not here to change her, and I'm not here to change him, because that takes me completely off the style. Why was marriage initiated? Why was it created? Why was this game put together? For what purpose? And when we completely go away and we cause a lot of pain for ourselves and partners, we misinterpret the rules of that games, we neglect it, and we go somewhere else. we basically waste time. We could have reclaimed a lot of our parts. We could have become more deeper, more wiser, more grounded. Through our partners, we get very grounded, right? That's another thing. And another point, I'm going to stop if you lift up your hands and if you want to make a point or ask a question. Another point in the marriage, it's also comes as a gift. Let's say there was a certain patterns in the family. A woman would get married, and just recently somebody was in our house, and she said, "I want to get married." And both my husband and I asked her what happened with the previous 2 marriages, and she's like, they were both cheaters, right? So I right away tuned in and I said to her, who are you trying to teach as a cheater? And she said, my dad. My dad had me and had another girl, my sister, like 3 months apart. He was a major cheater. So I said, you basically decided that you would go into marriages not being married. Out of the man's world, you're going to teach your dad a lesson. And you're going to suffer, and you're going to fight, and you're going to put down, and you're going to punish. And basically her relationship was only with her dad, not with her husband. She never came to understand the taste of marriageable relationship. She was only there to revenge, to pay back her dad. So I said to her, you don't want to waste your opportunities as a woman and enjoy the playground of marriage by paying back your dad. You have to go and deal with your dad, and you have to forgive him and say he has the right to be anything he wants. It's his life. I have no rights here to understand or to judge or to make assumptions. I forgive him and let him free. I'm not his God. I'm not deciding what's right and wrong for him. What he did was absolutely right for his reincarnation, and set him free. Because if we're fighting the patterns of our parents, if we're fighting certain dynamic in our tribal system, and we're bringing it into marriage, we're basically dealing with that energetically. We're not married. We are like sorting something from the past, out of loyalty, out of commitment, out of love to our large family. We're like, once and for all, we're going to punish those men, and once and for all, we're going to punish all those women, and you basically are missing out the opportunity to integrate the experience of marriage and to truly feel and translate into the world what is marriage, what is marriage about, right? So that's another insight. Okay. We are basically speaking for an hour. I don't usually go further than an hour. I would like to hear from you if you liked it, if you want to continue something like that on an occasional level, if there's certain topics you like more than this, if you like the style, if you like this correspondence like that. Tova, you have any realizations after the other points I brought up? If you're listening, if you're able to speak. Hi. Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to hear more. I make myself available to attend more of your meetings, and happy to listen and work with you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Did I answer your question? You had a question about dating.
Oh, no, I mean, not one specific question. Everything you said totally resonates, and I hope it did with everyone else too, because everything you said is very, very meaningful, and it's catching with me.
Thank you.
So I hope it's catching with everyone else.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for your feedback. Yes. All right. All right. It was good seeing you all. Love you all. And we'll be in touch. I think I'm going to post this recording here in this channel for those that want to re-listen, take notes, or maybe invite someone else to this group so they could listen. But definitely it's a topic to develop. And I do want to make a webinar eventually, more deeper, more like lengthy on this topic. I think if we have insights, the dating process, the marriage process, the partnership process will be much easier. Okay, love you all. Bye.